I explained during the presentation. When you use the phishing filter and you get that red address bar or you get the yellow address bar, you're anonymous to Microsoft in that case based on the way that I had the phishing filter configured here today. But if you go and on that yellow address bar dropdown, if you say, this was a phishing site and I want to report this, then there's an experience where you have to, kind of figure out one of those JPEG images, like kind of prove that you're a real person. And then in that reporting process, you aren't anonymous in that your IP address would be logged in that process. That's different, right? That's a different way of using the product. And there's a separate kind of privacy process and policy around that. If you report a website as a phishing site, so the question, before I answer it, the question was if a site hasn't been flagged as a phishing site and you report then, do you is your IP address effectively stored in? And yeah, if you report a phishing website, it's not like we're building a list of names of people who've done that, but it's not as anonymous as the average browsing around the internet case. And I think that's important. It's there's two modes of the phishing filter here, and I had two slides. I had the one mode, which is I'm browsing around the internet, I'm at a fake banking site, IE figures that out through talking to a web service and gets me out of there. In that case, there's no, my IP address is not being stored on some, server at Microsoft. There's no trace that I was ever there. Now, in the other, there's another possible case where I am a vigilante and I'm going to go out and find these phishing sites and I'm going to report them all to Microsoft. And that goes into a different data pipeline. That actually does go into a data pipeline, whereas the first case, there's no data pipeline. It's kind of just a check against the list. The second case is a data pipeline where we are, able to look and say, hey, this one guy has hit us with this request, 1,000 times in the last minute. He must have figured out a way to, figure out what's in that image, right? He's got some software that's reading that image and then able to spam us. And then we can go and shut down that reports from that IP address or filter them out. But the thing that's really fascinating about the phishing filter in terms of the way that we do security is that it's innovative in that it adds new challenges. It adds challenges exactly what you're describing. And that's when somebody asks, well, is this going to be open to third parties? It's really up to us at this point to make sure that we can make it work for our own clients and protect our own customers first before we kind of unleash and have other partners using it as well. Okay. Any more questions? The question was, if the phishing filter is going to block a site and throw that red address bar and take the user away, is it blocking based on domain or based on the entire path? And the answer is actually both, that it's capable of blocking based on either. So you can imagine that there's a deep dark folder on a GeoCities or a MySpace site someplace that somebody has managed to pollute, and that's been reported and confirmed. And obviously you wouldn't shut down or block everybody accessing one of those important major sites, but you could block based on a particular path and then contact the GeoCities server admin or contact the MySpace server admin and work with them to take that down. Okay, any more questions? Thanks very much.